It seems like lately, the smartphone industry has stagnated. I mean, every single smartphone is just a chunk of metal with a screen on the front, speakers on the bottom, and a camera on the back. Where's the innovation? Where's the fun? Today, I'm going to show you all the weird and wonderful and wacky phones that have been made. Phones that were made just as a piece of art, or music phones, the phone with two screens on either side. Just a lot of weird phones, and I'm going to show you every single one. Let's jump right into it. Starting off our list of weird phones is the Bang & Olufsen Serenata. Wow, that is a hard name to say. This was a luxury collab with Samsung, and it focused almost entirely on music. Instead of a keyboard on the front, there's a big old speaker, and it has an iPod-style scroll wheel. This thing cost $2,000, which is insane, but for the price, it also came with a little stand you could set it on to turn it into a speaker. The LG G Flex was like a phone except they bent it. It was made of an OLED display which could flex slightly and survive pressure. The back was self-healing. If you scratched it, the scratch would eventually disappear. This was a bold step toward the flexible and foldable phones that we see today. The Samsung P300 looked like a calculator more than a phone. It was nicknamed the credit card phone. It was tiny, you could basically fit it in your wallet. It shipped with a leather sleeve with a built-in battery. The higher P7 is the pen phone. It looks like a pen. You could clip it to a shirt pocket or just put it in your pants pocket. It had tiny number keys along the barrel, and you could talk with the tiny speaker at the top. It was literally just a novelty. It was aimed at fashion lovers more than practical users. Another phone by Bang & Olufsen and Samsung. This phone folds up and then folds out to become a whole music station. It used a motor-assisted hinge and scroll wheel, just like an iPod, again. This one launched at $1,275, slightly less than the first one, but still a lot. So you know Richard Branson, the guy who owns every company, like he owns the airplane company, he owned the space company, he owned the music company. He tried to make a phone company, and he called it Virgin Mobile. And he's like, you know what, we should make a phone shaped like a lobster. So we made the Virgin Mobile Lobster. It's got a built-in TV button, because it can watch TV. It was pretty weird. Almost no one bought it, but it's shaped like a lobster claw. The Microsoft Kin was made by Microsoft. It was supposed to be a fun phone for teenagers. It didn't have an app store, which was a huge miss because the iPhone was launching around this time, and it had an app store. Microsoft didn't have an app store, so they lost. But it did look pretty fun. The Motorola Flipout is one of the only square phones ever made. The screen pivots 90 degrees to reveal a QWERTY keyboard. This was one of the earliest phones with Android on it, and it had swappable backs to change colors. The Motorola StarTAC was a popular flip phone, and the Rainbow variant added really fun colors. This one was only released in Korea, but it's pretty cool. This is the Nokia 7280. Like, at what point does a phone stop being a phone? This thing was supposed to look like a tube of lipstick. It's got a little spinner wheel, the screen becomes a mirror, it's basically just lipstick. Oh, but it can also make phone calls. The Nokia 7600 is also weird. It's shaped like a pointy little circle thing. It's one of the earliest 3G handsets, actually. It was aimed mostly at style lovers, not really for useful, because imagine typing on that thing. That would be an adventure. The Nokia 7700 was actually never released. It was supposed to be the first wide touchscreen Nokia, and it came with a stylus, just like the DS. This phone was cancelled before it actually saw release, but it did have a big old camera on the back, which does look pretty useful. The Nokia 77110 is a bit similar to that phone I just showed you. This one had a big touchscreen, a stylus, and it actually could also do mobile TV, just like the Virgin Lobster Claw thing. The Nokia N93 has a massive chunky camera on the end with 3 times optical zoom. That's big for a phone. And you can flip the screen around like a little video camera. This thing basically took a video camera and a phone, slapped them together, and called it a day. The Nokia N-Gage, ooh. Nokia saw Nintendo succeeding out there with the Game Boy Advance, and they're like, let's take that, except let's make it a phone. It's a game console and it's a phone, and it was not good at either of those things. You had to hold it sideways if you wanted to make a phone call. The controls were really bad for video games. It just wasn't that great, but it did play Sonic the Hedgehog and Tomb Raider. The Samsung Juke was a super narrow phone. It would swivel around the edge. It was kind of like an MP3 player. It had a scroll wheel and 2 GB of flash storage. It had a surprisingly loud speaker, and this was the peak MP3 music phone before Spotify took over. This is the Matrix phone. It's a special edition phone made by Samsung to come with the trilogy of Matrix movies. It has a spring-loaded earpiece that pops up with a click. They didn't make a ton of these, so they're pretty rare nowadays. Didn't have a ton of features, but it looked pretty awesome. The Telson TWC was the Apple Watch before the Apple Watch. It's just a straight phone, except they slapped a little wristband with numbers on it. It also has this weird little finger ring speaker thing that you can wear, which makes you just look like James Bond, which is pretty cool. The Toshiba G450 is like a 3-stack circular snowman phone. It's a USB stick and an MP3 player and a 3G modem and a phone. But imagine trying to text on this thing. Yeah, no. The YotaPhone is a phone with 2 screens, except they're on different sides. One side is your nice color screen, and the other side is an e-reader. Except if you already have one screen, why would you need a second worse screen? This phone only came out in Russia, but it's apparently still going today. They're up to like YotaPhone 5 now, which is crazy. The Nokia 9 PureView was probably invented at a meeting where some guy at Nokia was like, what happens if we take a good phone and we put 5 identical cameras on it, and we call it a day? And that is how they got the Nokia 9 PureView. But this phone was actually the best camera phone of the era. Like, this thing could shoot raw footage and do computational imaging. Pretty impressive. The Motorola V70 is the phone, except it's like a fidget spinner. You can spin it around. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this one, but kind of fun, huh? The Palm phone. This one's fun. It's like a phone for your phone. So if you don't want to get your big phone out of your pocket, you just get out the Palm phone, and it syncs with your real phone so that you don't have to get out your whole phone, even though it's just a few inches bigger. Yeah, this one didn't really catch on, but Google liked it. The Motorola V100 was probably invented when someone said, what happened if we made a Game Boy Advance SP, we slapped a phone in there, and then plugged earbuds into the side? And there it is, just a monochrome screen, kind of like an Apple Newton. It was built for texting before the smartphone idea took over. The Meizu Pro 7 had a big ol' screen on the front and a little monochrome screen on the back, which is kind of fun. This was like the selfie widget screen, and I don't know, I guess it was useful. It didn't really catch on, but it was fun. The Sprint Kyocera Echo was invented when a guy at Sprint took 2 phones and he slapped them together with a little hinge in the middle. It was the first dual-screen Android phone in the US, and it wasn't very useful. But it was fun, and it's the precursor to today's foldable phones. The Ericsson 688 is a regular phone, except you could slap an absolutely bulky brick of a keyboard on the bottom so that you can text. This one's actually pretty fun. Like, imagine having just a keyboard like that with your phone. The Nokia 7380 is another lipstick tube kind of phone. It's got a mirror finish at the front. Instead of keys, it has a touch-sensitive strip. It has a much better camera than the earlier lipstick phone, but it's still pretty useless. And last but not least, this phone has 4 words in the name, that's how you know it's special. The Sony Ericsson Xperia Pureness. This thing has a see-through screen and no camera, so you can't do much with it, and if it's in bright sunlight, you're cooked, you're not reading your screen. But this is the future, or is it? It's like a hologram inside a piece of glass. Really didn't catch on, but it's pretty cool. There you have it, that was a lot of weird phones. Which one was your favorite? Would it be cool if Apple put some of these ideas into their new smartphones? That might make them less boring. I don't know. Subscribe to Wolf Byte for more videos like this. I'll see you next time.